Hey, what's up? It's Ashtyn and Wayne.
And on today's episode of Gamer Gab, we're going to have a seat in the Quitters Corner and talk about games we did not finish.
And then we're going to give you a couple reviews on Dead Island 2 and Jedi Survivor.
And wrap it all up with some news. Let's get started.
Gamer Gab.
Go.
Okay, so I decided to shock everybody right out the gate. So the first game that I turned on, I actually played it.
Yeah, we talked about this game for weeks.
I played it and played it and played it, and then I quit it. But not after playing it, I mean a ton. And the game is Red Dead Redemption
2.
2.
Yeah.
Yes. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
For me,
I think you quit before the last quest because I remember, well, I don't want to give any spoilers even though the game's several years old, but
yeah.
I remember talking to you about it and being like, bro, you were so close. Like there were just a little bit left to go.
I know, and it's such an overall good game. I think for me, one, I had heard how things play out, and had heard that people were kind of like, I wish I would have like loaded in, before or whatever, and I got so much enjoyment out of it, just messing around, doing different activities and stuff that you can do because it's like a virtual real life,
The unique encounters in that game are what makes it. I mean,
it's unlike anything else. I mean, Rockstar, come on.
for sure.
So, yes, I quit that. This one's a unique one because I actually played it for several hours. It's not like I turned it on. I do have some of those on the list that I turned on and then turned right back off. So, yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2 for me.
Okay, my first one on the list is a game that we've talked about on the show before. It's kind of a favorite, and it was Kingdom Come Deliverance. I know that I remember telling you, hey, like I started playing this game, Kingdom Come. It was really, really cool, but God, the combat was just so brutal, and I just could not get the hang of it. And so I rage quit it after just maybe 3 or 4 hours in, and I quit. And then months later, you come in talking about how, I got this game, Kingdom Come Deliverance, and I was like, I know, I tried it, and then you loved it so much, you convinced me to give it another shot, and like a year after I played it the first time, I actually picked it up again and played it all the way through this time, and I was actually glad I did because it was such a good game.
Yes, and so you just needed a little sprinkle of hope.
That's right.
Because it is brutal.
Yeah, that combat system, man, there's a learning curve for sure.
For sure, but you get over it as it goes on.
Yeah, definitely. What's up next for you?
Okay, for me, my next one is going to have to be No Man's Sky. Womp, womp, womp. I'm going to have to put a sound effect. Because that was,
Definitely, yeah.
But, I waited. I had heard about it. I heard some people still enjoyed it in the beginning.
Yeah.
This game has been out since 2016 and it has had time to be refined. So it's like, you know what? It's a safe bet now. I should give it a try because kind of like games between games. Now that's what I was trying to do with it. And I turned it on and I was like, well, like I'm on another planet. And then, wow, I'm on another planet. This is huge and very empty. I mean, for the first hour, I was just mining stuff. Just everywhere. But then as it went on, which I only played for a few hours because it's like, it's empty. They've apparently added a whole bunch of stuff, but it's empty. Not only that, it was going to take me 30 minutes to get to another planet. And I'm like, there's something that's cool about it, but there's something that's completely unpractical.
Yeah. It sounds like it's for people who like to multitask and like start your little spaceship flying to the next planet and then like go off and do the dishes or something and come back once you
I rigged something and put it on the joystick like a a coaster or something and weighted it down and then went and cooked dinner and would occasionally check on my spaceship as it's just hurtling through. And I thought these boosters were gonna like, oh, it's saying that it's gonna take this long, but it's gonna actually jump through space and it's only gonna take like 1 minute, which still I would be like, a minute.
Yeah.
You know, so I almost wonder if there's something I'm missing. You guys let me know, because so many people enjoy it. I tried. I really did, because there is something cool about it. The whole concept is. But it's still just overwhelmingly large and empty. You'd have to have so much to fill it, you know? But yeah, what do you have next?
Next is another game that we've actually talked about on this channel and really enjoyed, and that was Vampire with a Y. I started playing it because you started playing it and loved it so much, and so I picked it up, and I got stuck on a boss fight that I could not beat no matter what I did.
He's a rage quitter.
I did. I absolutely rage quit this game, and I have no regrets, with an A, regrets. Yeah, I mean, like, I really enjoyed the game. It was such a cool concept, just such a neat, immersive world that they built.
Like gothic. It was unique.
It was
unique.
so cool, and I noped out of there so hard because I just,
I even told him how to beat the boss.
Nope, not going back.
But yeah, no, he's done. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so my next game is Cyberpunk, and boy, oh boy. I mean, it was riddled. I got it day one release. I'd been looking forward to it. We all know it had tons of glitches, bugs. I mean, it got taken off the PlayStation Store. It was a rough go at it. But, I mean, I was powering through it because, well, I had been looking forward to it for so long, and there wasn't any competition at that time for it.
It was like CD Projekt Red was like, oh, Fallout 76, you think you did it bad? Like, hold my energy drink.
Yes, seriously. And then you were playing it too, and you were playing it on Xbox, and you were having funny glitches, but not game breaking. Well, I was struggling through until I hit a game breaking glitch, and I couldn't go around it, and so I couldn't do the final mission. And you know, it took so long for them to do heavy patches that would make any difference. That I was over it by the time they finally polished it up.
It was really surprising to me, the difference in the game experiences that you and I had playing that game on different consoles, because the Xbox version was, I mean, it was buggy, but there was nothing game breaking in it. I mean, I was able to finish the game and do everything that I needed to do, and I really enjoyed the game. And you, who were so hyped about it before, you know, when you got the game, were so excited going in, it just sort of crumbled around you and you weren't even able to finish it.
Yeah, not to mention the other issues. I won't go into the whole deal, but RPG, no, it wasn't. I had to say it. But yeah, I did have a friend who played it on Xbox, and he couldn't continue playing either because he got loaded and stuck into a wall, like a railing, and he was trapped. He was like save trapped.
Oh God, yeah.
And so he's just in like a railing. But yeah, that's unfortunate.
You know, my last one is actually sort of like that, where I would have finished and I wanted to complete the game, but there was just a bug that just broke the game. And it's sort of an indie game called Metamorphosis. It's based on Franz Kafka's book Metamorphosis, about a man that turns into a bug. And in the story, he's like a life-size bug, and it's sort of a metaphor for him being thought of as less than by the people around him, you know, like they considered him nothing more than an insect, you know, and so he became what they thought of him, you know, whereas in the game you become a life-size insect. So you're at the beginning, your guy gets shrunk down to the size of, well, he literally turns into a bug, and you spend the game running around across desktops and, you know, in people's beds and in crawling through holes in the floorboards and stuff. And I mean,
okay.
it was such an interesting perspective for a game to be played from. There was a game-breaking bug that the developer knew about where when you were loading in from one level to the next, it would load you in with just a black screen. You could hear audio of what was going on, and you could move your character around. You could feel the haptic vibration in the controller of your little character scurrying around, but you couldn't see anything. And I checked back weeks after I first encountered that bug to see if it had been fixed, because I wanted to continue to play the game.
Yeah.
It's just sort of ironic that a game about being a bug got killed by a bug.
It's unfortunate whenever you can't finish a game because of a bug that they just don't, they're not in a hurry or urgency to fix, because let's face it, you hit a certain point where it's like you have to move on.
Well, not only
and
did the developers spent years creating that game,
Yeah.
you know they did, just to abandon it because of I don't know,
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
it must have been a big issue.
So what's your last one?
My last game, this is perfect. It's Jedi Fallen Order. And people either love that game or hate it. And for me, I didn't like it. Okay, you know, most people are going to go into a Star Wars game and it's going to be, you know, I'm a powerful Jedi. I can fling people around. It's really satisfying.
Yeah.
And you don't get that, at least, you know, for a while in Fallen Order. And you're more so doing landscape puzzle type of things.
Yeah.
Without being super cool and strong with all your capabilities and powers, because he's not a Jedi yet.
Right.
You know, which I'm going to let you talk on the second one, because I hear it's completely different. I'm interested in it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's unfortunate with the first one because I could tell the story was interesting, which isn't rare for Star Wars.
Yeah.
But the gameplay was just not there for me. Not what I expected or hoped for, I guess.
Yeah.
The excitement, it was just a little dumb. Yeah, another wah, wah, wah. So yeah.
Well, before we get into Ashtyn's review of a game that we both played, Dead Island 2, we need to talk to you about Gamer Gab sponsor, Conway Corp Internet. You know, I've had a lot of problems recently with my internet. I actually don't live in Conway, for those of you that don't know, and we pay a lot for high-speed internet, and it is not there. And every day when I'm trying to download my next game, and I start it at night and wake up the next morning, fingers crossed that it's actually downloaded, I wish that we had Conway Corp Internet.
He's got to download, what, a week in advance?
Oh, God, something like that.
Yeah, see, I can go home. I'm lucky enough to live in Conway, and I get to go home and be like, what do I want to play? And I'm able to go on and, you know, hop in the shower, get out, maybe do some dishes or something, and then my game's downloaded. Internet capability is so important these days when it comes to gaming.
Absolutely, and Conway Corp offers internet speeds of up to 2 gigs, so you can download some stuff real fast. Yeah, so go check out conwaycorp.com if you're interested. So tell us about Dead Island 2.
So it's a zombie apocalypse game, nothing new there.
Right.
Well, you start off in a plane, and before the plane goes down, you get to pick your character. I think there's like 4 characters, and for whatever reason, everyone seems to pick Ryan. He had some pretty good, I think he had more strength maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
The main character on the cover art, I remember him having some pretty good perks too.
Right.
So if you pick your character and you crash in LA and you're just trying to escape. You meet some friends, some foes along the way, and that pretty much sums up the story.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not what I'd call a deep game.
Yeah, I don't think anyone expects
no.
out of a zombie.
Yeah, especially if you played the first one, you know what you're gonna get going in.
Yes, and see, I didn't play the first one. It came out a bit ago, you know, so I hopped on board this go around. I wasn't blown away. I have to say, I wasn't blown away. There are some pros. I'll go ahead and hit the pros first. Start on a high note. This is a weird high note, y'all. The sound effects.
Keycard. I'm just trying to get to Emma Jones. that's a design flaw.
They were so satisfying to me.
Yeah.
Picking up like loot and, cracking some skulls. So that was good, but is it good that I'm talking to y'all about the probing sound effects in the game?
Yeah, that's a good point.
But the graphics were on point. It was very full.
Yeah.
There was objects everywhere. There wasn't emptiness.
Right.
So in that sense, it felt real and lived in.
Yeah, I mean, I played it too. I thought that the set pieces were really nice. The different varying areas, even though it wasn't all entirely open world, I kind of liked that each area was broken up by a loading screen because it allowed them to make each area look different,
unique,
instead of having to worry about transitioning from one to the other.
But see, that's it right there, having to worry about transitioning it. I just feel like at this day and age on the consoles that we have and how long they've been working, because that map and stuff can get convoluted. I mean, trying to figure out, okay, what quest is where.
Their map system was definitely not the best I've seen.
To follow up with more pros, see, we're already slipping into some cons here. Well, maybe we are ready for the cons. The main pros are the graphics and they're the sound effects, and
the voice acting was good.
The voice acting was good.
Oh. Tisha, I'm sorry, but I can't lose you two.
You're right, Dad. I shouldn't put this on you. It's not fair.
Well, okay then. Come on.
See you later?
Yeah. Yeah, this is no place for human beings.
Hey, Doc, a word of advice. You want to stay top dog? You let your daughter take her chances just like everyone else.
Okay, for another pro, I'll go ahead and give them that there were side quest options. So, more effort was put forth there just to create side quests. But let's go ahead and just get into the stuff that kind of stopped this from being a hit.
Yeah.
And we had talked about this and agree. One of the main things that destroyed this for me, I mean, I got it. I saw a streamer playing and I was like, this looks so fun. The combat looked fun. It looked satisfying. And then you get behind the controller. Are these zombies made out of bricks? Like, what? Or sandbags?
Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh, you've got your weapons and stuff, and even if they're souped up, it's not doing anything. They're just like barely leaning.
Yeah,
when you're smacking them.
Even the zombies that look like they
But to fall
were
apart?
a skeleton held together by some bits of skin, like they would just tank damage.
I wasn't a fan of the
perk cards. Yeah, that
those
fell
were
a little
convoluted
flat for me, too.
And I don't really know what it matters because they're acting like you get these cool kicks. Well, you're gonna have to kick them like 12 times to get them to fall over.
Yeah.
Or really do any movement at all. So I wasn't really a fan of that. And then I found out you grab your loot and then you go to the crafting station. Okay, well, I've gathered money, but I haven't been buying stuff. I've been just crafting things because you find weapons. So
I mean, there's no shortage of weapons in
No.
the game. I mean, they're scattered around like confetti.
I didn't really buy weapons. So I thought, okay, I'm saving like a ton of money. I'm picking up all of the supplies to make the weapon to, make it stronger, boost it, whatever. And then I hit a plateau where I couldn't. And I was like, what? I've got all of the elements. It's charging me money for me to make my weapon. Who's charging me? to go through the workbench, you have to swipe your card.
Yeah.
So I've gathered all the elements that I need, and I'm using my own hands to craft it, and it's charging me.
And furthermore, because there's not much of a variety in the upgrades that you can do to your weapon, before you're even halfway through the game, you've got like 3 or 4 upgrades that you just apply to every weapon. automatically. If you get a new weapon that has better stats than the one you've got, you go to your workbench, you apply the same 3 or 4 mods to it, and then you use it. The way the upgrade system is set up, it doesn't. It's like they don't want you to be creative with your creative
feature.
system.
Yes, I don't understand because it lacks so much in satisfaction. Because I mean, we even tried to knock down the difficulty. Both of us did.
Yeah.
Because you want to feel good. Combat's supposed to be fun. That's your whole thing with this game. You shouldn't be like, oh, there's more zombies. I want to try to go around them.
Yeah, in your zombie killing game, if you try to avoid the zombies, that's
it's a sign that you're not doing something right.
For sure.
Just give more. They don't have to be. They shouldn't be that difficult. I mean, you're wailing on them, and then the power. If you go to your inventory, it's like 300 power. Well, this doesn't look like 300 power, and you can never catch up. You think that you're gonna, get to a point where it's more satisfaction based, and you don't, because it just keeps going.
To me, the most fun that I had in the game was near the end. There's a portion where you're trying to get out of this building as it falls down around you, basically, and I had picked up a claymore, this gigantic sword, and all the zombies that I was encountering, they wanted you to get through that area faster. So all the zombies that you encountered were already hurt. They had like half health or something. And so I'm just like cutting zombies in half with my giant sword, and the whole time I'm thinking, this is what the game should have been the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is what was fun. This is what I wanted.
Yeah.
And you've got it for about 2.5 minutes near the end of the
Where
game.
was that? I mean, you'll pick up, and you're supposed to be excited to unlock a new weapon in a combat-based game. First of all, their variety, you've seen them all by the first hour. You've seen pretty much every weapon. And then you get like a big sword earlier on. It doesn't do what you think it would do.
Yeah, and the way that there was little to no variety in the weapons. I mean, there were some weapons that were cool. The problem is that you can have 6 weapons that look identical in your inventory at any given time, and they all do different amounts of damage, and they look exactly the same.
Yes.
You can pick up one crowbar that does 50 damage, and then wander around, pick up another crowbar that does 250
Inventory
damage,
management.
and
You've got to
look
manage
exactly the same.
your inventory, which I was just tearing the stuff down and reusing, which would be great. That's how I was building more weapons. However, if I ran out of money to do that, then what's the point? Yeah. So you're kind of telling me if I go this route, well, there's not really a point because it's still money based. So I could just go and buy from this guy, So, I mean, it was frustrating because it could have been so much better. And it was right there. Yeah. Just drop it down. I mean, put more zombies in there and make them less difficult, because the pleasure of playing the game comes from the satisfaction of slaying zombies.
Yeah, I agree totally. Okay, so I think that about sums it up. What do you give Dead Island 2?
Man, I'm so surprised because online it's not getting negative attention like how we just gave it. Maybe we're the ones that are weird. I don't know. I don't think so, though. I think we're right. I might give this game... Okay, I'll give it a 6.5.
Ooh.
Because there's still... The story is interesting. The game does continue to go on. Length, I'll give it another pro right here. Length, they weren't lazy with that. But the map system I wasn't a fan of personally. The side quests weren't interesting enough. I was like, okay, Yeah. The weapons, the money system, and then we didn't even discuss the fact that it was an empty world. I had heard your take. You told me the first one you could encounter individuals, and I mean, there were side quests
in the original. There were side quests everywhere with survivors. There were just random encounters of survivors that you could find that were trapped inside a car or trapped on the roof of a building or something, and you could help them and then basically recruit them, and they would go back to your base.
It's an empty world. You go out and there's just nothing but zombies. So given all of that, I just can't get around giving them a 6.5. Thinking about it, there was some fun in it. It just could have been so much more, and you can't ignore that.
Yeah.
Simply.
There was a glimmer of fun every now and then, and that almost made it worse, because for a split second you get to see what it could have been, and then have it taken away when you have to hit this one piddly little zombie 8 times.
Yeah. So sadly a 6.5. It wasn't absolutely horrendous. I mean, you could get some enjoyment if you're bored, you know? So, all right. Tell us about what you're playing.
Okay. I actually picked up Jedi Survivor. And, man, this was... I'm not talking about the game here, but just like the whole thing about me starting to play this game was completely backwards, because... I got it because I heard so many good things about it online, you know. I've never played a Star Wars game before. I mean, I played briefly Force Unleashed years ago and didn't like it. I didn't play it more than an hour or so.
Oh wait, so
probably.
you're telling me that you hit the game and
I went back to the quitter's corner, yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, and so I got this game, and then 5 minutes into it, quickly realized that this was a sequel. And because I don't really pay much attention to Star Wars games, because
me, because I totally talked about Fallen Order, complained to him. Just saying.
All right.
If Sarah's watching, she can relate, I'm sure.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I picked up this game because I'd heard great things about it, and then realized that I was coming in the middle of a story that I knew nothing about. Luckily, though, I will say that this game does a really good job of sort of holding your hand through that if you didn't play the first one. And I never really at any point in the game felt like I didn't know what was going on. There are a lot of flashbacks that really help to fill in the gaps if you didn't play Fallen Order. But anyway, you're continuing the story of Cal Kestis.
That's right, yes.
The Ginger Jedi.
Yes, the Ginger Jedi.
That's right. They missed a marketing opportunity there, I think.
Clearly.
But anyway, honestly, I love this game. I thought it was great. Yeah. It did what I wanted it to do with the Jedi game, you know. You start off, because you're coming in the middle of Cal's story, he's already a Jedi.
He's actually a Jedi.
Yeah.
When I played, he was not a Jedi.
He's got his Force abilities, he's got his lightsaber, and the combat's already a lot of fun right out of the gate. I mean, you know, force pulling droids to you and chopping them in half with your lightsaber, all that fun stuff.
That's what we're looking for.
And the world is mostly, I mean, there are you get to visit different planets, and each planet is open world, and they're fairly large. I mean, there's a large area to explore on each planet. And
wait, I have a question.
yeah.
Are these planets, do they have like civilizations?
Yeah. There are
Okay.
towns. You have a home base, as you find it, is called the planet Kobo, and there's a settlement there, and you go to meet one of your gang. His name's Grease, and he owns a cantina, a bar, basically.
Cal, get over here, you son of a bogling! Oh!
And so you go there, and that's where, you know, where you go back to after every mission, basically, to regroup. There are little side quests and mini games that you can do there in the bar, and everybody that you meet on any of the worlds, really, if you help them or rescue them or whatever, they'll end up back at the bar. So the first time you go to the bar, the bar is empty. There's Grease and the robot bartender, and like that's it.
I like that
But
they bring them
then-
back.
But then by the end of the game, when you go into the bar, it's chock full of people. and you can go and talk to them and do all that kind of stuff. And so it really makes the world feel more lived in, for sure. And so I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
Okay, yeah, I like that they actually, it almost makes you feel like it matters what you do, because you'll see the people that you encounter again.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, this game really, and I said this to you before, but this game really reminded me of a game series that I loved from early 2000s, the Prince of Persia trilogy.
Yes.
And and I think anybody who's played the old Prince of Persia games, the Sands of Time, Warrior Within, I can't remember what the third one was called, but anyway, the platforming in this game, the way you get around the world is almost just like Prince of Persia, and I really loved that because there's a lot of wall running and, you know, swinging from like vines or ropes and, you know, jumping from back and forth between walls and all that fun stuff. There's a lot of platforming in this game, and it does it really well.
See, and I almost wonder, because it's been so long since I played the first one, I just remember an overall feeling of, this is just a little bit much. Like, I'm not having very much fun even with the platforming because it can be a little tedious. So I'm wondering if they switched stuff up, simplified maybe, because it sounds like this game is completely...
Yeah, and I will say, as far as the voice acting was top notch.
When the senator gets a hold of you, he'll wish you were dead.
Always nice to meet a fan.
I've been waiting for this for 200 years!
I won't disappoint you then. I defeated you. Fight with me. We can take on Dagon together.
The story was great. I mean, like you said before, that's not a surprise for a Star Wars game. The story is usually not where they lack. And something else that I really liked was, I've forgotten what I really liked. But at one point in the plot, I thought I was getting near the end, and this huge twist came out of nowhere that I did not see coming, and basically turned the whole main story on its head and took it in a different direction, and I was here for it. I mean, like, I was shocked, but it worked, and I thought it was really cool. Yeah.
So many games and movies are, you know, predictable, and you can still find joy in them and enjoy it.
Sure.
But it's very nice whenever something successfully surprises you.
Absolutely.
Throws you off.
And it definitely did. As far as cons go, there were a few things that I didn't necessarily like about it. There are a couple of things that you can collect as far as currency goes. You don't really, there are cosmetic changes that you can make to Cal's clothes.
Oh, I've seen some of them online.
Yes.
Mullets, mustaches.
Yeah, the mullet. I actually got the mullet just the other day. I didn't use it because we're not about that. But
bless you.
but the cosmetic changes that you can make, like you can change when you're crafting, you can break your lightsaber down into like 8 different parts, okay? And you can change out the way each part looks and then put it back together.
Wow.
But you never see your lightsaber up close. So like there were a lot of things like that I feel like maybe super fans, people who like maybe own their own custom lightsaber, you know, and like to make those TikTok,
I've got a friend.
like make those TikTok videos where they like, you know, turn off the lights and like swing their lightsaber around and stuff. Like, you know who you are. No judgment, but you know. It was just lost on me. I changed my lightsaber like one time, and then I was like, you know what? I like the way it looks. Also with BD1, there are a bunch of things that you find across the game world that allow you to customize the way he looks.
Which you do see little guy, don't you?
Yeah, oh, you see him all the time. But,
so that makes more sense.
I think I'm probably a little weird when it comes to this, but I was like, I wanted to keep him the way he was because I was like, that's
him.
That's him. That's what he's supposed
His
to look
original
like. Yeah, and
character.
so I didn't want to mess with him.
Yeah,
Because,
like R2. Like,
yeah,
well,
exactly.
I don't want to change you.
Yeah, so that's what BD1 was supposed to look like, and
I can kind of get
he's-
with that.
And he's a character. He's a part of the game. You use him to like scan things, and toward the end,
I vaguely remember that.
you get he gets some abilities where you can use him to access certain areas that you couldn't get to before, stuff like that. So I mean, he's a big part of the game, and he almost becomes like Baby Yoda, where like if something happens to him, you'd be really mad. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
Yeah. So
for sure.
And also you can change the color of your lightsaber, the color of the blade.
Yeah.
You know. Again, I didn't change mine. I mean, I know that there are like in Star Wars canon, there are a lot of different colors that Jedis can have, right? Pretty much the only color that there's not is red, right?
Can you have red?
Yeah. Well, not until you finish the game, and then in New Game Plus, you can make your lightsaber red if you want to. But like pretty much every other color. But again, I was like, but that's Cal's lightsaber. That's what color it was. So like I didn't want to change. I know that's completely weird, but
Which
it was like he's not a customizable character. I'm playing him. That's what he's supposed to look like, you know.
I can appreciate, because I agree.
Yeah.
I can appreciate hair, or just like in Red Dead. Why can't I think of his name?
Arthur Morgan.
Arthur. You could, grow his facial hair out. Well, that's normal. Grow your facial, get a different haircut. I
Right.
don't mind that stuff.
Yeah.
Even clothes, you can change clothes and stuff. But I do get what you're saying, and I think I might question. We'll see, because I think I am going to be getting this game.
You know, so another sort of another con for me was throughout the game, you can get into secret areas and you pick up these things called priorite shards. They're just like little gems or something.
Did you really
basically.
remember that?
Yeah, I totally did. And you collect them through the game, but pretty much the only place that you can redeem those or use them for anything is in there's a store next to the saloon, on Kobo, right? And there's this alien in there, and you can go in and trade them in for things. And there are not many of these in the game. Like I think over the course of the whole game, I found like maybe 22 of them or so, like something like that. So they're not just like raining down.
There's some crazy hidden, because I've seen clips. There's some crazy hidden areas that I'm like, how on earth do you know the developer personally?
Yeah, right. Well, see, and so I'd collected some of these, and literally the only things in her store are a couple hairstyles, a couple of clothing options, and then some songs for the radio in your ship. And then there's one that costs more than all the rest. It costs 10 shards, and it's a key card to a locked door that's inside her shop. And so I got my 10 priorite shards and went and I bought the thing and the key card, and unlocked the door, went in there, and she was like, oh yeah, you can have whatever's in there. And so I opened the chest that's in there, and it's a health upgrade. And that was it. Like, that was the big treasure. And so, like, the whole thing, there's no money in this game. Like, there's no there's no currency. Like, you don't. I mean, they talk about credits. Like, if you're like a mercenary or whatever, doing things for credits. Long story short, Jedi Survivor is a great game, especially coming from someone who's not a huge Star Wars fan. I mean, you feel powerful as a Jedi, like you're supposed to.
Yes.
And moving around the world is a lot of fun. The story is really good. The voice acting is killer. All the characters are great. It's just, it's a great game. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I'm going to do it before you ask me.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds like they took notes from maybe possible shortcomings that people saw in the first one and have revamped. And I don't think I've heard from anyone that it's not a hit.
Yeah.
So I guess I will be purchasing this game.
It's definitely one to get for sure.
I mean, notice how he struggled to come up with cons. Yours were barely cons. They tried to appease the crowd that wants customization.
Yeah, the cons are you can change the way your lightsaber looks.
Yeah, like, what a pity. What a pity. So, all right. Well, I love what I hear.
All right, guys. So as you know, Gamer Gab is sponsored by Conway Corp High-Speed Internet. We already know that I don't have great internet at my house because I don't have Conway Corp, but you've got the setup at your place.
I've got a pretty good setup. So Conway Corp hooked me up. Not only do I have the high-speed internet, but I have plume pods. So if you don't know what a plume pod is, essentially it's like being hardwired in multiple places.
Over Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah, over Wi-Fi. And so I game on a monitor for competitive play, so like Call of Duty, but then I get tired of sitting at my computer, and then I'm able to switch over and actually play on my TV in the living room through remote play. So I'll play a PlayStation 5 game on my PlayStation 4 that's in the living room because I want to sit on my couch and play, an adventure game or something that's not quite as intense.
And this isn't something that Conway Corp hooked you up with that's like a special thing, right? I mean, like you can call right now at 450-6000 and get the same setup.
You can.
You can get remote play too.
This could be your life. So I encourage you, if you're a gamer, call and get your own hookup.
All right, so now let's get into some game news.
Yes, what do you have us today?
You're going to want to hook us up with a graphic.
You had one job. One job.
Now we can go. Okay. So actually, my first news story I thought was kind of interesting, and this is actually a story I found on Eurogamer about a Nintendo
Oh my God!
Zelda Tears of the Kingdom ad that was targeting a little bit of a stranger audience.
Are you talking about you?
Absolutely, I'm talking about me. Old people. This Zelda Tears of the Kingdom ad is actually kind of sad and depressing when it first starts out. I mean, we'll show some clips. I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing, but you can find it online if you want. But it's a middle-aged dude sitting on the bus, taking the bus to work, and he's depressed and goes to work and goes home and then takes the bus back to work, and it's just the same thing day in and day out until one day he gets Tears of the Kingdom and he's got his Switch.
Changes his life, doesn't it?
It changes his whole life. I mean, like, suddenly he's smiling, he's happy.
He gets a promotion at work.
He buys his own company. Not really, but obviously they're saying, like,
it adds some interest to his life, some variation, some excitement.
Exactly, and that games are for the old folks too.
They're for everyone.
I thought that was a really interesting take from Nintendo there, and I appreciate that.
Well, it's nice to see that they're not honing in on this made-up belief that gamers are teenage boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, they definitely exist, 100%, but that's not everybody. Representation for the rest of us.
All right, so my next story here that I've got is there was a big announcement in the survival horror genre, which, I'm a big fan.
Yes.
You're kind of a baby, so you're not.
I'm still a
much of
fan. I
big
just have
fan.
somebody sit with me while I play it.
Well, the sequel to Alan Wake from 2010 was announced recently by Remedy Games. They did the first one in 2010. I played it. Actually, my wife and I played it. She's an armchair gamer where she likes to sit and tell me what to do. And
I have a couple friends that like to do that.
Because she can't do the whole controller thing. Yeah.
Does she set it down and move the sticks like my mom?
No, I'm not even sure that would help. But we really enjoyed Alan Wake. My wife is a writer. Alan Wake's a writer. It's about him sort of getting trapped in one of his stories. And so, anyway, and they've just announced the sequel. that is going to be coming out October 17th. So I'm super excited for this game. And October is apparently going to be a big month for survival horror, which I'm super excited about. And I don't think it's any coincidence that both of these are coming out in October.
No.
A little on the nose there. But a really old game series that started back in, if Wikipedia is to be believed, in
Of course, Wikipedia got me through college.
1992. The first Alone in the Dark video game was released.
92, eh?
Yeah, 2 years before you were born.
Wasn't even a fetus.
Just a gleam in my father's eye. Anyway, but there was an Alone in the Dark video game that came out in 2008. There was kind of a reboot. I played that one. I thought it was a pretty good game. I mean, it wasn't earth-shattering or anything, but it was a solid game. And then now they've announced that there's a reboot essentially coming out this October 25th. This one has actually got some star power behind it. The two main characters are played by Jodie Comer, who's from Killing Eve and Free Guy, and David Harbour, who all of you will know from Stranger Things. He plays Hopper, the cop, and everybody's favorite father figure.
He's dipping his toes in a lot.
Yeah, and
recently.
the main characters they did the mocap for them and stuff, so the characters are modeled after them. They look just like them and everything. So yeah, Alone in the Dark and Alan Wake 2. It's going to be a big October.
Okay, awesome. Love to hear it.
Yeah. The only other story that I have is I want to talk a little bit about Redfall, because
What the heck, Redfall?
we're big Bethesda fans here on this show, not of the company, because that's kind of like but of their games. They make great games, not so much great choices, but great games. But Redfall came out recently. It dropped in, I've got Game Pass, and so I got to play it free day one.
Free. Let's bold print that.
Yeah.
Because I think that has a lot to do with what's going on.
I think it probably does. This is not a game that I would have, even reading the synopsis and seeing, the gameplay stuff that they posted, like when you look it up on the Xbox store. This isn't a game that I would have paid $70 for. But I saw that it was, published by Bethesda. I read the synopsis. It was free, and I thought, I'm going to check this out.
Yeah.
It was a game between games,
Yeah.
And so I downloaded it. I played it, and I actually really liked it. And this game got absolutely panned by the critics. I mean, like, nobody liked this game. I think I'm the only person.
You're the only one I have
seen
heard. I mean,
that
seriously.
liked this game. Now, I will say, it's set up to be a squad-based shooter, right? There are 4 or 5 characters that you can pick from. And so if you're playing with your squad, each of you pick a character, and then you go out and kill vampires, right? Well, I can see how it would suffer as a squad-based shooter, but that's not the way I played it. Because I don't
Loner.
Exactly, because I don't have any friends. I played it by myself, and it works really well as a single player game. And I actually think that there's some features of it that make it a good single player game that would hurt it as a squad-based shooter.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think maybe they're just pitching to the wrong market here, because as a single player game, it's got a pretty decent, deep, interesting story. And that doesn't really work for squad-based shooters, because it's go, go, go all the time, They're very action-oriented. If you're online with your group of friends, you don't want for one of you to stand over in the corner and read a book that tells about the lore of, this town or whatever, while the rest of them are chomping at the bit to go out and kill vampires.
That's a very interesting point that you just made, like trying to have a story and keep it multiplayer. Because I believe, hopefully I'm not getting this wrong, Breakpoint, me and a friend got it, and it has a story, But oh my gosh, playing online, it's like I'm here, you're there, in the sense of the story, what we've done, what we haven't done, what we can do, but you can do it with me because you're with me. But the storyline doesn't make so much sense. I think it's Breakpoint. I'll have to double check. But yeah, you could be onto something because you're the only person I have heard that has given
so
it.
I mean, if you're somebody who doesn't have a lot of friends and you just like to play video games on your off time, I mean,
if it's free,
if
maybe
it's
don't
free,
pay $70. I don't think that you're saying
free.
to pay $70
No,
for
absolutely
it.
not. But if you have Game Pass, and Game Pass is a killer bargain, might I add. If you've got an Xbox,
Yeah.
pay for Game Pass, because now that Bethesda is owned by Microsoft, that means every Fallout, every Elder Scrolls,
Oh.
all of those games are going to be Game Pass day one releases, and you get to play them all free for like not very much a month.
I think I'll be doing that.
If you're a loner, give Redfall a chance, because it's not going to be a game that you're still talking about 2 or 3 years from now because the story was so killer, but it's a fun game.
Kill some time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let us know though. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Besides Wayne, does anyone else out there
Does anyone else out there
enjoy it?
appreciate Redfall like I do? So once again, before we check out of here for this episode, Gamer Gab is sponsored by Conway Corp Internet. Whether it's streaming, playing competitively online, downloading content, or using remote play, Conway Corp's got you. We offer speeds of up to 2 gigs to keep you connected and in the game.
Okay, well that's it for this episode of Gamer Gab. But drop us a like or a comment, and we'll see you guys next month.
Gamer Gab.